This story is for you if you wish to achieve something great in life. This story will send shivers down your spine. Today, I will tell you how he overcame numerous obstacles in life to become a successful person. Listening to this will change your perspective. The profound silence of late night. Steve Jobs sat alone in a laboratory deep inside Cupertino. In his hand, he held a discarded circuit board, which he scrutinized intently, as if every line on it bore witness to his myriad failures. He had been expelled from Apple. In 1985, he resigned from Apple Inc. due to conflicts with the board of directors. At just 30 years old, he was exiled from the empire he had built with his own hands, like a king wandering as a pauper after losing his kingdom. The months felt like years. His new company, Next, was not yielding the expected results. The Next workstation, launched in 1990, was priced at $9,999. Although designed for the education sector, it failed to gain traction in the market due to its high price. Meeting after meeting failed, and investors turned away. Every evening, he returned to his garage, where Apple's first computer was once built, but now the place was merely a haunting abode of failure. He was overwhelmed with despair. His dream of innovation, his aspiration to bring technology to the common people, all seemed to collapse like a house of cards. One day, reaching the peak of despair, he thought of giving up everything. In his hand was a scrapped motherboard, part of a failed project. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind like lightning. Looking at this failed motherboard, he was reminded of how every failure actually paves the way for a new beginning. Failure is not the end, but rather an opportunity to learn from mistakes. He recalled the early days of Apple, when a new window opened after every closed door. This thought infused him with new strength. He decided he would not give up. He plunged back into his work with Next and Pixar. In 1986, Jobs purchased the graphics group, later renamed Pixar, from Lucasfilm's graphics division for $10 million. Day after day, night after night, he worked tirelessly. Pixar Animation Studios, which was once just a side project for him, became the place where he fully expressed his creativity. Films like Toy Story conquered the hearts of people worldwide, and suddenly, Steve Jobs' name began to reach the pinnacle of success again. But the real twist came when Apple, the very company he had built with his own hands, stood on the brink of bankruptcy. They were looking for an innovator who could save their sinking ship. And who knew that savior would be their once-fired founder, Steve Jobs? He returned to Apple in 1996 when Apple Computer acquired Next Computer. When Steve Jobs stepped into Apple headquarters again, his eyes gleamed with a new dream. He knew that this time he had returned not just to prove himself, but to forever change the world's perception of technology. He reshaped Apple, leading the technology world in a new direction with revolutionary products like the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. Every step he took was a symbol of courage and foresight. His comeback was not just a business victory, it was a shining example of the human spirit's resurrection. The man who was once exiled from the empire he had built returned to rebuild that empire, establishing it not just at the peak of success, but on the pinnacle of immortality. Steve Jobs' story proves that failure is not the end of life, but rather the most powerful seedbed of success. Listening to this story still sends shivers down people's spines, because it is a story of an indomitable will that never gives up. Hi friends! If you liked my story, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.